This playthrough is rated M for mature.
Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with I guess a little bonus episode, Will, Wonderful World. In the last episode, the brother and the sister found out that they were the ordnance device that had been created by the parents years ago, and they'd figured out a way through the letters and transitions where they're able to basically go back to, one of them went back to the past to, I guess, either change things or live their life however you want to do it, and the brother used all of his power to disappear, make her forget, and able to possibly save the world because they'd stopped the nuclear winter from occurring and stuff like that. So kind of a depressing possible end for the world, which wouldn't be surprised could happen realistically, depending on although when they said 100 million years that they had been there, wouldn't the Earth had or wouldn't the sun had blacked out by then? Because I've heard it's the sun is like, I said last episode it was like a million years. I was incorrect. I think it's like 50 million years or something like that. I don't know. I never actually looked it up that the sun would darken, but basically the sun would have gone dark by the time that they're. I guess it wouldn't matter to them because they probably don't need heat, but you know what I mean. In this episode, I'm just going to talk about generally what I thought about the game and show you the bad ending, which is what happens when you finish. When you finish you probably saw it in the episode, obviously, but when you finish key fob, it immediately starts the timer to the end. I almost thought for a while that maybe the game itself was timed and you had like 35 hours to beat the game or something like that, but no, it just starts as soon as you finish this mission. Then you get an hour and 30 minutes to finish the game. Luckily, last time I had plenty of time before that. Before we wait for time to run out, I was only missing like a few trophies from the last episode. I was able to get the artist one. I actually kind of did it off screen because I was kind of just messing around. Apparently what happened is the profile didn't get unlocked when I did this one for some reason. I had to finish I had to do his S rank, finish Li Wen's story, and then I switched back to this, and then it finally gave me the final star, which is had a personal art exhibition in Beijing and moved there in the same year, and that gave me the artist trophy. Which the only things I'm missing now are whoops, that's the wrong one. Actually, did I show? I think I showed, because we had unlocked all everyone's profiles. So, but if I show you the collections, we have every single trophy except the final trophy and the complete album. Yeah, or sorry, the bad ending, the album, and the completion. And the way you find out which album you need is you go into it and you can check. You see the little white dots on the image there? That means the variation of the image. That means there's multiple variations on that same image you can get throughout the game. Not all of them have it, obviously. The one I'm missing is apparently, according to online, is one a lot of people have been missing. I kind of had an idea how to fix this, but it's the party scene with Bang and all them. But in one of the stories, it mentions that Jiggle or however pronounced it, his the sister who had died. Apparently, he dies because P had killed him or Pi. Sorry, I keep calling him P. Pi had killed him. There actually is a way to alter that scene a bit. But I'll wait till we get to the bad ending first because I can't really get it. Well, actually, could I get it now? No, it'd be. I'll just wait till I get the bad ending and I'll reload the old save, and then I can talk about the characters, what I thought about them, what I thought about the game. Because I didn't really get a good chance to really talk about it in the previous episode because I was trying to unlock everything. The credits went by pretty quickly and everything like that. So I probably should have waited till the timer was a little bit closer then. But yeah, if you don't if you didn't save properly, left it to autosaves, and you let it get to the bad ending, you basically have to play the whole game over again. So hopefully you had at least you had to save at the beginning of the countdown and then an extra save for what you did afterwards. Otherwise, you're SOL'd. But good thing I always save in multiple spots. Nothing that never. And I finished the game even before the timer ran out. But let's see what happens when we decide not to finish our transition. It's so boring. Master's been sleeping so much recently. He's always asleep every time I bring him his tea and snacks. But everything is gone when I come to take the tray. Why don't I ever see him awake? Well, we know why now, but ... It is still snowing so hard outside. Yeah, since we didn't. Basically, you saw the episode. I finished it, but basically the transition to getting the ending is getting Spot to have the lady drop them basically into Pie's hands. That's the catalyst for the finale. And when you see the door icon, it just means you can basically go straight to the ending now that you've unlocked the best ending, and then you can just load the save file with the ending, so that way you can do all the rest of the characters. Because I guess a lot of this stuff isn't required to get to the game, but you do it to unlock the rest of their story modes, unlock all the art. But we did most of that through the regular playthrough, and I assume most people probably did as well, just missing like one or two things. Anyway, every day feels the same. Dot dot dot. It's strange that I'm also starting to feel sleepy. I should also go take a nap. And because we didn't do our job or try to finish the letters, the game just ends. Yeah, it's just kind of a sad ending, if you don't get everything done. Too bad there's not much extra. Most bad endings never give you a bit of extra incentive to do them, like maybe get some unique info or a look on certain characters, knowing that the end is over, or you got the bad ending. But yeah, well, it looks like from what I understand, I think this game might be Chinese or Chinese inspired, because a lot of the kanji that's used doesn't look familiar to me, except for like one or two of them. So, well, I'm not familiar with every single version of Japanese kanji, but I get I know the gist of it, and that doesn't look like Japanese kanji. So that might be. I don't know if kanji is the same in Chinese. I don't know if they call it kanji as well, but I think this was originally a Chinese company that worked on this. Which is fine. It's one of those things that you just kind of notice, because most of the games I played are either Japanese or American. Although I get the few European country games, like a few Ubisoft games, as well as like CD Projekt Red, which is, I think, a Polish company if I remember correctly. But yeah, the game just kind of ends if you get the bad ending. So yeah, you kind of want to work to the good ending for the most part, and that's pretty much the credits there. So. Man, all those people that just worked on a visual novel, although obviously you had to have writers for it. You had to. Oh, apparently this is crowdfunded. Well, it had a crowdfund option thing there, so I guess so. Fan club, most of this is, which makes sense. It'd be mostly in the kanji, because they were the ones that put the money to it. So whatever company decided to publish this and put the English translation to it. I think this game originally came out on the PC, in 2016, I think, when I was looking up some of the details about it. Afterwards, both Willie and Myth fell into eternal hibernation. Unfortunately, you didn't uncover the truth behind this world during your exploration. After their departure, you have become the new owner of the house. After loading for the final end, you may continue helping the humans, but neither Willie nor Myth will respond to any of your decisions or questions. And we don't need to do that, so gone with the dreams. So let's go ahead and continue. No, we won't. Let's load from the save that had the final ending to it, which is with those little box things right there. So, I want to load from that. So, and then basically you could, just go through and just say, hey, what have I missed? We're only missing one letter, and it's from the party. So how we get that? Well, what we have to do is make sure, actually, it doesn't really matter which one, as long as I keep saying P. As long as pi is on the X rating, then I think you just have to do the, I think it's the My Justice one again, or is it the... No, it's Farewell. Okay, it's Farewell, the Busan Police Department. And then I don't know if we have to go through the whole thing again. I think I can skip it or whatever. Let me see. I don't know if I have to replay it or redo the A ending again, for the most part. Let's see. I'm just replaying it just to see if I can lock it for the most time. Because basically what I need is the unique CG from it. Because there's no dictionary parts from it. Yeah, we already learned all that stuff. Because we already got all the dictionary stuff. And most of the dictionary stuff I showed you how to do on screen. And all it is variations on the same scenes or playing one ending that has another person's ending, stuff like that. But for as complicated the game seemed to want to be, it didn't seem that bad. But I'll talk about that after we... let's see. We already did that. Let's see. Went back to station. Basically, I just want to get to Let's see. I don't know if I have to. What to pick up? I heard the voice. Midnight. Turn in the gun. Oh, maybe I have to unlock the. Maybe see the 9144. Let me see what happens if I do the 419 one. Because basically what I need to do is just I need to replay it. Let's see. Because what I have to do is, like I said, it shows here the two different variations which you get from the two storylines, but you're supposed to. I might actually need to look it up again. Because there's supposed to be, you're supposed to set his ending to X, because that means Pi is dead, or sorry, he's in jail, so that means he can't kill that one dude. Let's see. I mean, I could always go from another save and do that again if I really needed to. Do I have a save that's like near the end? Let's see. That might actually be faster to do than to try to figure out, because it won't let me because I tried replaying it, it wouldn't let me do the endings again. At least it wouldn't let me view it anyway. Let's see. Well, let me try, hold on. Let me go in an old save. I think I had a save where I finished it, but I had like a ton of time left or whatever. Let's see. See, that one has... Well, I need one where I haven't actually finished that mission yet. Let me see which one I've got that'll do that. Okay, I haven't finished this one, so let's just do that again. But I'll set it to... Actually, I'll just set it to the final one. That'll just make it easier. And then we'll do the mission there. Okay, I'll just run through it really quick. Because you have to get the actual ending. See, 419 and 914. Okay. But, there's probably a way to, like, redo it to review the CG, but I don't want to spend forever trying to actually figure out how to do that, so I was just basically replaying the old scene will just make it easier, and it locks it on the different files, so that's fine. So I'll still get the ending I want on that. So okay, let's do 419 first, and then we'll do the 914, and then I'll talk about the just leave it on the main menu while I talk about the game and stuff like that. Okay. The night Jeagle won and declared everything was on the house. It was an absolute riot in the bar. After I told a drunken Jeagle about the story of what happened to me after I left Blue Lady the day he cried. He put a picture of Lieutenant Jeagle. Oh no, that's the same. Brothers right now. Lieutenant Jeagle. No, we've been such close friends. Until it was almost daytime. We left Jeagle. It was almost daytime. We left Jeagle sound asleep in the bar. See. Stunned. That might have been different. Just instead of it talking about how he had died, it just says, "Oh, he was there," and he basically repeats what happened in a previous one. Let's see. Because I think in the original ending it said Lieutenant Kang because he got super depressed after what happened. Let's see. I don't think anything else is really. Grievous Lake could fall. Oh, it still says he'd. Oh, a few days. Started. Oh, Well, for some reason you get the. If you change it to Pi being in jail, he gets his. You get a different CG. So I don't know. The end is still the same, which is weird. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess it had to happen somehow. Maybe it's just Pi gets out eventually, It's just yeah, okay. Yep, so I don't know why. Okay, well, anyway. Yeah, with that out of the way, we get the final CG, which is just a variation. It's just one variation on the same scene, but we've gotten all the music in the game. Like I said, for the most part, I think the only songs I really remember were the saxophone music. I mean, there were some nice tunes in. I'm just saying, very few of them like really stood out to me. I don't know what the one with the weird saxophone was. I think the cat one was one I liked as well. I think it was it Cat Pound or that's kind of the silly cat song. Let's see what this. Yeah, that was not bad. Maybe if I actually went through and listened to all these. But I'm just talking about how it feels like if you just play the game without like really thinking about it. But yeah, if you go to the thing, it just shows. Oh, all the different. Oh, hold on. Oh, you can barely see it, but in the background you can see Pi. He's in the left left corner. He's just sitting there, I guess, waiting to take out Jeagle. And if you flip the scene, it's someone else. I don't know who that is. Someone else in general. And then yeah. So okay, that's the difference. Going one scene, he's there. He's not. So he still kills him. He's just not there at the time of doing it. Yeah, we get to see all the CG of the game, the telling of the story. All the characters. The one that surprised me the most was this one. And that's how you get the best ending, is you have to have the sort of, sort of man-on-man love, yaoi love right there to unlock the best ending for him, which is kind of funny when you think about it. But hey, why not, right? Some women and men need to have their own little nice things too. And then all just little details. That was a nice little picture there, though. Dawn and the brother. That was kind of a bittersweet ending right there. And then the dictionary, just everything. I like the idea of the game kind of explaining certain things, so if you're not aware of a lot of things, you could get kind of an idea of what's going on. I was aware of a good deal of this stuff, but obviously not everything. Some stuff was like blackjack I was aware of, food tickets, panda bears, Morse code, RPGs, but still, for those who may not be as well read, it was nice to kind of get little details. Although overall it seemed kind of light, because I feel like there should have been more things that should have had a dictionary entry to, for how much details they threw it. Like there were some things that never talked about. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of surprised there wasn't a dictionary thing for this, And then obviously it was nice for the game to straight up tell you how to get, even though all you have to do to get, tell you how to get the trophies is just go to the trophy icon on the PS4 or Xbox or whatever. Although I don't think this game's on the Xbox. I think it's just on Steam and the PS4 or whatever. I think overall I did enjoy this game for the most part, because it was a different type of VN than the world is ended or something like that. Having all the different characters interacting with each other through the letters, I think was a really neat mechanic. And there were some, and I liked how it did introduce some more difficult ways to solve the letters by having certain restrictions or having to put them in a certain order, stuff like that. And then obviously one of the more complicated ones being the 3-1 at the very end there, which was a nice little touch for the most part. I feel like some functions they wanted to do kind of disappeared or weren't used as often as they probably could have. You think over the course of the game we would have gotten more restrictions and more weird things to do, but maybe the people who made this game realized that certain solutions weren't obvious at first, and they didn't want to throw too many difficult ones as back to back. And then obviously, and then at the end when you have to beat the game in an hour and 30 minutes after you unlock the final one, they don't want to make those super complicated, because the only ones you have to solve at that point are although technically I think it depends on when you activate key fob, because I think you can activate key fob earlier than what I did, so maybe I would have activated key fob and then would have done all these other stories to it. But when I was playing it, I just got lucky and got key fob last, so I was able to get that one without having to worry about it too much. But overall, it was kind of interesting how they had a couple of side characters that really had nothing else to do apart from just being there, for one scene. Almost kind of wish there was more of them in the game or whatnot. Yeah, Rocky, the one guy who didn't pray but prayed that one time. I always thought he was going to be the bully character, but not. I mean, he kind of was, but not really. He was more just like a whatever, like a jock type of character. then Yin Yang, the unrequited lover of Win, or yeah, unrequited lover. She wanted to love Win, but she lost her chance. But the little 18-year-old girl cucked her. You know, yeah, it's kind of sad, but. That's not what I imagined her to look like, actually. I imagined her with, like, dark black hair. I don't know why. Then when the, apparently the hunky 35, the 37-year-old... Wait, I guess he would be 35 when he was flirting with her. So that was like a... so she would... Was she, like... I think she was 7... Well, let's look at her profile. She was... Okay, so she was roughly 17 when they first met, but 18. So, okay, that's legal. But still... I don't know how I feel about... I mean, obviously, for story purposes, you got to do that kind of the whole, not lost love, that forbidden love, maybe, or whatever type of thing, but I've never been a fan of... I always feel uncomfortable with, like, not because age difference-wise between her and him, but the power dynamic. I talked about this earlier, how I'm not a fan of, like, teachers and students getting together, or anyone in a position of power dating someone that isn't, because 9 times out of 10, it's usually utilized... to take advantage of the one who's not in power. You see it all the time and everything. And now, if they were just people that just met each other, had no connection to school or teacher, or just people that met on the street, I would be completely fine with that. It's like, oh, whatever, love is love, whatever. But I don't know, just in this sense, obviously after the fact he left school, it was okay, but it's just one of those creepy factors. And then obviously the girl had found out she was like an older man, which I've heard that story multiple times, where people like the mature character. Yeah, this is the guy who's like, rude, ripping up people's things, purposely trying to make people seem to not like him because of what's happened to him in his life. She's like, oh man, he's hot. I'm like, what? It's like, who likes the Tsunderes in real life? No one actually likes them. You only like them in a fictional sense, not like you, Tsundere, but you know what I mean. Her story was, I don't know what I'd say. I think I could, well, I'm not an 18-year-old girl, so I don't know if I could relate with a lot of the issues she had. It just seemed like a lot of her stuff was kind of like, I wouldn't say selfish, it was just kind of like, oh, woe is me, I'm a teenager, I've got typical teenage problems, but at my age, I'm like, oh, fuck you. He had more issues, lost his love to a disease, like cancer, all this other stuff, and you're like, I'm 18, I don't know what to do with my life. Which a lot of teenagers usually do, but still, you have your whole life ahead of you. And then her ending is she's depressed because Wen died, when she knew what was going to happen, but she was still depressed about it. So, and in one of the endings, she jumps in front of a train to kill herself, So, I mean, obviously they had to love before she died, but after that, you never know what happens to her. So, I mean, obviously, the game doesn't need to tell me. You can leave it up to your imagination, but I doubt the rest of her life's much happier just because of how her character acted throughout the course of her story. It probably didn't get much better. And then Jimmy went from being like a creepy stalker nerd to like a douchey gamer. Doesn't relate to anyone at all. No. But, I mean, the fact that he obviously became a better person after surviving the serial killer incident, and he apparently due to some weirdness, he got a superpower after that, being able to jump into toilets. So that was weird. It's kind of weird for this game that's supposed to, like, it has supernatural elements, yet it has a serious tone, yet we'll throw in like super silly shit in there somewhere. Just it's weird. I don't know how it's not a mood killer, it's just odd. But Jimmy's story, I mean, was straightforward, nerd, didn't get along with a lot of people, father, and then kind of just went out on his own. So I guess he tried to live on his own terms, I guess, so you gotta respect that. Pi, which, if you haven't figured out, Pi is Park, that because of his condition, forgot about who he was as a child. Like, after he killed everyone and burned down that place, he turned into Pi instead, or whatever he called himself, Jack, or whatever his term was. But yeah, that was pretty obvious that he had turned into Pi and then became basically Dexter, basically killing anyone that was what he considered evil. Then he went against Jimmy, who Jimmy beat him because of weird shenanigans, but then he gets away and lives the rest of travels the world with the cat until the cat dies and whatever, and apparently ends up saving the world because he got the box or whatever, or something like that anyway. Yeah, Pie's story is kind of messed up. The abused kid who mind just cracks and then just starts murdering people later on, even if they're bad people. He still does it. And of course, obviously, the twist is that instead of the dad being the abuser, it was the mom. But when most kids think it's the mom or the dad, that was a interesting twist. And obviously he killed his dad without realizing it because of his condition. And then obviously probably one of the more depressing stories is the Carlos and Alicia, where if you get the best ending with them, they never run into each other. I mean, sure, your headcanon could probably say like, oh, they eventually ran into each other maybe years down the line, but I think from a story purpose, it makes sense that they never actually see each other, which is kind of depressing. But I just noticed that over the course of their game, her like passport thing or whatever turned into a phone with her stats on it. I just noticed that actually. Carlos ended up having to join a gang to find his sister, ended up having to do terrible things, and then still not running into her. But overall, he got off pretty light for the most part, despite everything that happened. The one who probably, actually, I don't know who got the worst off. It was either Alicia or maybe Win because of his cancer. But I would say Alicia probably got the worst, like, just things happening to her because, she gets human trafficked, probably got assaulted, sexually assaulted, all this other stuff, then becomes an assassin, so she drops her Catholic and Christian nature to kill people, which I guess she still kind of keeps her, you can switch to her. Oh, there's her old thing, it's her, missing persons report. I mean, it's kind of sad to see this, like, cute, girl wanted to sing and turns into this hot, sexy assassin, Why is she dressed like that? What does that have to do with assassinating? Because it's a VN novel that has to put in a little TNA, if you know what I mean. But yeah, she probably got the worst of it just because of all the shit that happened to her, and that was before she hit her 30s. Although at the end of the game she becomes, this well-known assassin, that probably makes millions of dollars. So I guess that's a plus, But yeah, sad about her story. But yeah, that one's probably the more sad of the ones. Probably, I think that one flowed a little bit better than the other ones, I think. And Spotty for your... Well, I would almost say it's comic relief at places. But overall, the end of it is kind of sad, Because to get his true ending, his dad had to have been run over by the car instead of surviving. So you can't have a happy... Well, I mean, he would have died anyway because his dad was probably, like, in human years, probably like 12 or something like that, where he was getting on in that, like, age range where he was about to die anytime soon anyway, but still... And then, obviously, although he does get a nice ending, him and Pi end up together, which, should the psychotic killer really have a companion at the very end, but whatever. But, yeah, I like the cat's story just because, like I said, it just plays a bit differently, and it uses the cat's arrogance as, like, the moniker for the story, and I enjoyed that one. Obviously, the big highlight of the story is supposed to be the detectives, Chang and Bang, or Bach, or...
이게 바로 나의 처음이다.
But yeah, the two detectives. Chang obviously represents the shonen anime hero, justice, and all that other stuff. And obviously, because of that, he ends up getting the stupidest bad endings because, like, everyone else gets bad endings because of bad luck or whatever. Like, he's a really shitty detective. Like, that, we have to save him every time because he's really bad at his job. Because he just jumps in or does stupid things. But yeah, I think he's a representation of shonen heroes that do stupid shit without thinking about the consequences. Take a lesson, And then obviously Bang is the grizzled old cop who used to be the shonen hero but found out the truth. And then he got a second personality all of a sudden, which I still wish that there had been some... Well, I know that that doesn't happen in real life. You can't just fix the idea, but... It seemed like it was the second personality was a big thing, and then it kind of wasn't at the end of the game. I mean, yeah, the next to final mission takes it that if you do the bad ending, his bad self, his bay itself, kills like half the police force or whatever. But I don't know. I think you could have just left it as a detective story and just him as a grizzled old detective who's lost a lot of faith in a lot of things, and without the second personality, and it would have been just as strong, I think. So I don't know. I think the other personality was pointless, personally, despite it having a few cool scenes. But I don't know. I guess it's supposed to show he had insanity issues after what happened to Unit 2, which I guess makes sense. But I don't know, just one thing. But yeah, that one was interesting too, for the most part. And then obviously Utaru was part of the Pi. Which he only had one line, and his whole thing was to get out and kill Alicia. Is what he did. I assume maybe what he did is after he got out, he informed Ray about her, and that's why he knew she was coming or something like that, maybe? I don't know. Like, maybe that's why they were chasing after her. I think that's why they were chasing after Alicia, because of what he was doing in jail to try and get her. And he was going to get out and finish it, but there's no confrontation with him. He just escapes, tries to find out what happened to his lover, but never... I guess if Ray kills her, I guess he gets his just rewards, but there's nothing with that. So, like, he just disappears, really, from the story. And like I said, I don't need a story to tell me how everything ends, but there's got to be, like, a reasonable conclusion to what occurs afterwards, if that makes sense. You know, I don't need to be spoon-fed everything. I just need to... I need to have a reasonable payoff, and, well, I don't know if I want to say that because that seems kind of selfish. Like, you're building up to something. There needs to be something that comes of it. And it doesn't need to be a happy ending. It just needs to be an ending of some sort. This is why I hate Stephen King novels, because of the way he ends them. He himself isn't terrible, and he's not the best writer. He'll admit that that's the case. But I hate the way he ends his books. It's not... And I can read a book that gets a bad ending or an oblivious or like a weird ending, and I can still be satisfied with the journey, because it's sometimes the journey, not the destination. But an ending can kind of bookmark the end of a story, and if you don't do that right, it just throws it all out of the window. I don't know. That's how I feel anyway. Despite it having a good journey, like it's the same thing with the Game of Thrones ending, from what I've heard. That's ruined a lot of people's opinion of the show, especially with how the show ended. I haven't read it, I haven't seen it, so I'm just going by what people have been talking about it. But overall, I say this game did an interesting job of making me invested in the story until the very end. Obviously, I had an interesting mystery with the whole kids being the time distortion devices. And it made sense in the story for why they had their powers, because they eventually explain it. So it's not just some magic. You know, it was magic, but they call it science in this world because is it even possible? But usually if it's so ridiculous, science almost turns into magic in a lot of stories. But yeah, I thought there was an interesting sci-fi suspense thriller type of story with an interesting payoff. Well, no, yeah, I think the end makes sense too. You know, she goes back in time, and then maybe she can change things from people's wishes to make sure that the nuclear holocaust doesn't occur. But that's 100 million years from now, so who knows what will happen then. So I hope you enjoyed my playthrough of this game. I wasn't sure if I wanted to record all this because I've done multiple VNs back to back now, but I think I'll take a break from VNs for quite a while. If I ever get another VN in the mail, I might do like a little preview thing for it, but I probably won't record it because these VNs really mess up my voice, because I like doing the voices for them, but because of how much I have to talk, I have to like take long breaks in between episodes because my throat gives out. And obviously because I'm not very good at coming with voices on the spot, or I do a very poor job at the voice itself. And then sometimes I ruin the mood for people who want to read it and have a serious moment, and here I am making jokes. But that's the fun of it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time when the mail comes in.